Hi guys, this is Fahd Dawood. Welcome back to this three-part mini video series on how to choose the best townhouse investment in Dubai. Now in the first part we covered choosing the right developer, the right development in the right location. Now hopefully you've already done that or you're well on your way to doing that. In this part, we're going to identify choosing the right townhouse, the perfect townhouse within the community. Okay? So let's go to point number one. The point most important is choosing the right location now inside the community. Now pay attention because there's about 4 to 5 points that I'm going to discuss in how to identify the perfect location inside the community. When you approach a community of townhouses, there's going to be inevitably a shopping mall, a large swimming pool sometimes, a gym perhaps that's joined for everybody, a communal gym. It's going to have basketball courts, tennis courts, etc. This is sometimes known as the town center or the community center. What you want to do is, you want a townhouse that's not too far away from the community center and not too close to the community center. You want to be strategically located so that at night, if your husband forgot the milk and you needed it badly for the baby, you only need to walk about 5 to 7 minutes to the community center where generally all the shops are. If you're too far away, you're going to have to jump into the car and then drive down there. Which is why you don't want to be too far, but not too close, because if you're too close, generally speaking, there's going to be a lot of cars thoroughfare as well. So just strategically located about 5 to 7 minute walking distance is excellent. Secondly, every townhouse community has either 1, 2, 3 or 4 entrances and exits. Again, if you're too close to the exit point, yes, it's great to get out of the community super fast, and when you come back into the community, it's great to get home super fast. But know that there's going to be cars coming by all day long. Whereas if you're very far in the community, it's going to be a long drive to home once you enter the community. My suggestion is to again be strategically located, not too far, not too close. A lot of developers are building townhouse communities and they're thinking about these things so that even the townhouses that are 5 minutes or about 30 seconds driving distance from the entrance and exit don't get a lot of disturbance from the cars coming in and out. So look for a location that's got the least disturbance. Yeah. Another point when you're looking at the location of the townhouse is that in every townhouse community there's either a cul-de-sac, which is a cluster of townhouses which are together and the road kind of turns around. This is called a cul-de-sac. Or there's a dead end in the road. My personal preference is that choose a townhouse which is closer to where the road is ending and there's no further road, because only those cars will come by over there which have either a townhouse there or are visiting there, which makes it very safe for your children if they're playing outside on the road. It makes it safe for your guests and yourself if you plan on walking there. So there's less cars coming by, right, in your community. Now, also, there's a small garden or a big garden in most townhouse communities. Look, if you have the option, choose a townhouse which is again walking distance to the small garden green space or a big garden. Because while you have a small garden inside your townhouse, it's going to be nice to be able to sometimes walk out to the bigger garden, right? It just adds more value to your townhouse, especially when you're trying to resell it or attract more tenants. Last but not the least, this is very easily done when you've got a ready community, because you can easily identify where the sewage, the telephone poles or the telephone masts, and the electricity substations are. Avoid being close to these 3 things. However, if the community is not already built and you're buying off-plan, very easy to go to the master developer and be a little adamant about this and insist on it, or get your agent to insist on it. Look at the master plan community in its entirety. Try to get to the AutoCAD drawing. Sometimes they let you do that. You'll be able to identify where the sewage, telephone poles, and the electricity substations are. avoid buying a townhouse near these places for health and other aesthetic reasons. Let's get to point number 2. Look, when you're in a townhouse community, it's inevitable that some townhouses are going to be back to back, which means a townhouse in front and a townhouse right at the back. And some townhouses are going to be single rows, means there's no neighbor on the back. Ideally, if you can afford it and the opportunity avails itself, choose a townhouse which is single row, means you've got no neighbor behind you. If you can't and you must choose a townhouse which is back to back, which means you have a neighbor overlooking your townhouse, then choose a community, for instance, Nashama now. They've put in decent amount of space between the townhouses that, like 3 or 4 people can easily walk down that alleyway. That allows you some privacy, and when you're attracting tenants or trying to resell the townhouse, that gives you more value. So point number 2, single row versus back to back. Choose single row if you can and if you can afford it. Point number 3, the layout of the townhouse. Some developers are doing it like Cassia is doing it now. They're making sure they give you a full bedroom with a full bathroom downstairs and a family room, like a landing area upstairs, so that when you go upstairs, you're not just opening doors and entering into the rooms. If you can get these 2 or at least one of these, a full bedroom downstairs or a family room upstairs, go for it, especially if you can afford it. This is again going to add value when you're reselling your townhouse and also attract better tenants, because you know what? You might not want a full bedroom downstairs with a full bathroom, but the tenant you might be renting out to or the people you might be selling to might have older parents or might have this as a basic requirement. So keep a lookout on this, and if you can afford it and spend a little bit more cash, then go for this option. Number 4 on this list. Pay attention to the sunsets and the sunrises. Look, sunrises in the east, sets in the west. Most of the time, the townhouse community is built in a way where the sun will almost cover the entire community because it comes up diagonally. However, if you are a person who loves the morning sunlight coming into your townhome directly, choose a townhouse that is facing the sunrise. And if you prefer the sunset sun rays coming into your townhome, then you can choose one that's facing the other side when the sun sets. My personal recommendation is choose one where the sun actually rises. It allows for more natural light. I don't think it breaks your bank balance on the electricity and the air conditioning bills. Last but not the least, a lot of townhouse communities end up getting a view of either the city or the desert. If, for instance, you were buying in Cassia, which is in Mohammed bin Rashid city, which is a very prime location, you're going to have the option of overlooking downtown Burj Khalifa. Even though it's at a little bit of a distance, like at a 10 to 12 kilometer distance, you still have that option. So you want to make sure that perhaps you are conscious of what view you are getting. Do you want the desert view? Some people find that very relaxing. I personally like the city view because most townhouse communities are a little bit further out from the city. So if you can get a city view, it's kind of like nice and very beautiful. So we covered in this video the location inside the townhouse community, and I covered through many points. Re-listen to the video if you need to, but make note of them. I talked about single row and back to back and how single row is almost always better, especially if it's at the end of the community. Thirdly, I talked about the layout of the actual townhouse. Pay attention to that. Don't just go for the cheapest, the best price, the best payment plan. Try to get a room downstairs and a family room upstairs. Then I talked about the sunrise and the sunset. And last but not the least, the view that you're going to get from the terrace. That's something you want to pay attention to. So hopefully this video is going to be helpful to you when you're choosing the right townhouse inside the community. Stay tuned for the next part where I'm going to help you save a ton of money once you actually finalize on the townhouse in the community. See you soon.